Welcome back to another episode of Plant-Based Ads. I'm Joey.
And I'm Tim. Today we're talking about something even more controversial than protein.
More controversial than protein.
Maybe not more controversial, but definitely more overlooked.
And that would be?
Fiber.
Fiber. So, we've been focused on the last few years on increasing protein because the average plant-based diet gets enough protein to survive, but really not enough as you're getting older to help with muscles and joints and all that stuff because we absorb less of it. So we've kind of gotten on the protein kick, which the rest of America's on, right?
Yeah, but I think, I feel like I have that down. And it's something we plan for the day before. But once you get the protein down, then we can look at what helps with this whole gut microbiome.
You know what? For years, before we were kind of higher protein focused, all we ate was fiber, right?
Yeah.
We are the whole starch solution, all the vegetables and all that stuff. That was all the beans. And we still eat that. I feel like we've been on the fiber train for so long. Remember, I'd wear those shirts every week that said, "Where do you get your fiber?" Right? Because everyone's a way to get protein, and it was such a big deal. This is kind of what we've always done, but people are now just getting on to this fiber maxing train, and it's a good thing because protein is important, but without fiber, you have big problems.
Yeah, I keep going back to that, right? Like at the end of the day, I'm like panicking. What's going on? I think I've got enough strategies for protein.
Yeah.
I mean, people can find protein, water or protein chips. Like there's so much protein now, but we need to talk about this fiber.
I think we as a vegan community probably don't have this issue as much because all of our food has fiber. But meat eaters who eat their chicken, they're getting their protein from chicken or meat or any of that stuff, and then they're having their carbohydrate, right? Yeah. They're not getting fiber.
Yeah, I just picture that just all clogging up and compacting, right?
Yeah, so that's what we're going to talk about today. Yeah. I think as vegans and as plant-based eaters, we already get quite a bit of fiber, probably at least the minimum, but you should still be aware of it anyway.
Yeah, and so I think after today, we'll talk about strategies to hit your protein goal and fiber goal.
Well, you can just watch our videos because that's what we've been doing for the last 2 years. So that's what we're talking about today, fiber maxing. Yes. All right, so Tim, how much fiber do you think the average person gets in a day? Assuming they're not plant-based.
I just don't know. I mean, part of the whole strategy of eating whole foods is so you get more of that. So maybe 12 grams?
12, I would say it's under 20, for sure. Yeah. And this is assuming if you're plant-based and you're eating beans and all that, you're getting it, right?
So what is the goal number? I know you've read some books on...
Yeah, so the average person gets under 20. The FDA recommends that it's somewhere over 30 or 38. It's in the 30s. My own personal goal is 50 to 75 every day. Yeah. And
so you can't just jump into maxing fiber.
Oh gosh,
right?
No, you're right. You need to take your time. We did it for years. But if you went from the average American diet where you're getting 12 or 15 grams of fiber and started getting 100, you would be in pain. It would be really, really bad. So that's not something you could jump into. If you're a plant-based eater, you've been getting plenty of fiber. It's not that hard to increase it a little bit.
Yeah. So you could definitely do an inventory of what you're doing and where you're at. I think this is so important to take a look at for hormone health, for insulin resistance or insulin just processing anyway. Hormonal health, I already said that, right?
Yeah,
your
for
immune
sure.
system.
But listen, we're over 50. You can keep saying it.
But your immune system that supports that, it comes from the gut.
And it's not like we're anti-protein, right? We are a protein-focused channel, but the fiber is just so important.
Yes, exactly.
And in our sphere of influences, we've seen people fall and have to go for medical help and they're athletes because they're not getting enough fiber.
Yeah.
Which is pretty scary, right? Everyone's focused on protein, but without fiber, you're having heart attacks and heart disease and all this stuff.
Bowel obstruction is a big deal.
Yeah, all that stuff.
And that's a nightmare you don't want to go through. And it's embarrassing, but I think this can be resolved, without...
It can be.
Yeah.
And again, if you're a plant-based eater, you're getting a lot of this anyway. It's interesting because on social media, I follow a lot of bodybuilding social media. Yeah. Almost none of them are vegan. I mean, I follow Brian Turner and Nima. I do follow those guys, but there's not enough of them to really keep me focused.
Yeah.
So I follow a bunch of other guys also.
So
and I follow high protein.
Vegan.
Yes. All the vegan ones actually, but I follow a lot of people.
Yeah.
And they will have 220 grams of protein a day, and I'll put their diet into my chronometer, right? To figure it all out. First of all, they're getting 4,000 calories a day because they're huge, and I get that. That doesn't work for me. But they're getting like 20 grams of fiber for the day. And I'm like, bro, like this is a path for disaster, right?
For sure.
No idea, right? Not really focusing on fiber. I'm like, well, you're going to be muscular and big, and you're going to have a heart. The average age of a bodybuilder is like, the average age of death is like 50 years old.
Yeah.
Like it's so low because of the protein, because of the fiber.
So you're following that, but I just look at coworkers who end up in the hospital because of bowel obstruction. So this hits not only bodybuilder and high protein community, but also just regular folks, right? So I heard you touch base on social media.
Yes.
And there's been talk about fiber maxing. So what is that?
So that's when you knowingly make your meals. The way we do with protein, you knowingly make your meals, increasing the fiber to as much as you can at each meal to balance with the protein to get all the nutrients in. Yeah. And that is fiber maxing. We've kind of done that. If you're a plant-based eater, you're kind of doing that anyway. It's interesting because, like I was talking about, you'll see people do 220 grams of protein and 12 grams of fiber. And that's like the equivalent of putting really nice wheels on a race car with no engine oil, right? Like, you're not going anywhere.
Nice analogy.
Yeah, it's pretty sad.
All right, so we talked about blue zones. You've heard of that, right? Maybe around. And they look at different populations in the world that live longest are
those
healthier.
Blue zones.
Yeah, the blue
people
zones.
piss me off, right?
Yeah.
They are areas where they focus a lot on vegetables and fruit and stuff grown, and they either don't eat meat or they have very small portions of it, right? Yeah. It's not a big, and because of that, they live to be a long time, right? They live a long time to be an old age, and the studies show it's because that that they're getting vegetables and fiber and all that stuff.
Yeah. So if you have a loved one or friends, or you're having this conversation with, I think it can just start off with just being whole food, right? All those blue zones, they might be like the purple sweet potato over here, or the olives over here, or something. But what they have in common is it is whole food.
It's unprocessed
and not processed.
Yeah, that is the answer.
Right now, fundamentally, you have to stay away from processed foods.
And it's one of the reasons that you have to be careful when you buy, like if you're drinking a green juice, right? You juiced all the juice out of it. You're throwing the fiber away, right? Are you getting nutrients? You are. There's so much good stuff in it. But the most important part of it, the fiber, you're tossing away. You have to be careful when you're eating processed food. Most of the nutrients have been stripped out.
I know. You have seen us eat occasionally processed food, like maybe a protein bar. But some of those are quick fixes because I need to meet my goals. So like that works. But rest of the 90% of the day has been, whole food.
Absolutely.
And getting that fiber that I need. Right?
Yeah, well, we have a mix of processed and non-processed food, but we hit our goals every day.
Yeah.
So if I hit all my protein goals and my fiber goals by 3 o'clock, right? And I want something processed later on, like a vegan hot dog with Lex, I'm good. I've got to already hit everything, right? It doesn't really matter. Not that happens often, but that's the case. So nowadays, longevity researchers, they're not just talking about protein all day. They're talking about like long-term metabolic health, right?
Absolutely.
And this is the stuff that Dr. Will Bolshewitz has talked about for years and years and years. Where your gut is like your second brain. It's kind of where everything happens. Gut health is so important, right?
Absolutely. I know we've already said it talks about helping with sugars, but as we get older, that's kind of a concern. But we also get our immune system from the gut. And everyone's sort of worried as well about inflammation, especially when you're working out. You want to help support, your body against that. So the gut actually does that, for the fiber.
And Dr. Will talks about one of the reasons you want to eat from the rainbow, right? All the different colors of fruits and vegetables is because you want microbiome diversity, right?
Gotcha. Okay.
There's power in, the different types and different strands of fiber, and not getting, like if you love broccoli but that's all that you eat, you're not really getting what you need for your gut microbiome. You're missing out on the stuff from the cabbage and stuff from the carrots and all that stuff.
Or the kiwi.
All of that stuff, right. So gut microbiome diversity is a huge deal, and it's that's the kind of stuff, if you're eating a plant-based diet, you want to plan.
Yeah, that makes sense because they've talked about recently different strains missing. Like from Accutane or something, and how that might affect something else. They don't have anything foundational, but they talk about these different strains, and so that totally makes sense. Feeding different strains.
Oh, for sure.
Different things.
And that the gut microbiome also helps regulate your blood sugar, right? So we just talked about how the gut microbiome keeps you from being inflamed, or maybe it is inflamed because you're feeding it the wrong stuff, right? But inflammation really has to do with the gut microbiome. The diversity really helps with all that, your blood sugar regulation. And you know, fiber impacts all of that stuff, right?
Yeah,
What you eat impacts every one of those. You remember how when we stopped eating animal products, right? And this, Lex just reminded me of this, where he was like, he had something, you know, he's a vegetarian, he's not a vegan, but most of his food is vegan. At home, he gets vegan cheese.
Yeah.
We went somewhere and he had a slice of pizza with regular cheese on it, because he's a vegetarian, right? And I don't know, 2 hours later, he was like, my stomach is killing me. Like, I feel like I'm inflamed. I'm like, you probably are from the cheese. And he's like, so what? Like, now I just can't eat regular cheese ever? Like, eating vegan cheese messed me up? I said, no. Here's what happened. You lived inflamed all those years, just like we did before we switched, and now you don't have any inflammation. And you don't realize it. And the minute you have a little bit of inflammation from eating that stuff that's bad for your gut microbiome, now you're feeling it. And listen to this. You lived like that for years and didn't realize it.
Yeah.
And now you do realize it. And that happened to us.
Yeah. Well, thank God for Follow Your Heart cheese. So it actually looks like the real thing and
really
tastes
nice.
good.
Yeah.
So that's a lifesaver. So on that segment, I think we've covered for sure, like the reading that you've done, the book studies that have come out, the benefits of worrying about fiber. So let's move into like some strategies, the foods.
For sure. And again, if you're a plant-based eater, this is stuff you're kind of already experiencing without really having to try and get it in. Now, you might want to be more aware of how much you're getting, but you're getting fiber.
Yeah. I don't know. I think for this last year, we've definitely been focused on the protein part. But recently I've been like, okay, I didn't get enough fiber in, so I'm going to have a quick 1 or 2 kiwis. Right. You sort of do the same way. We'll have like a high fiber cereal.
I do, yes.
But let's go through some ideas here.
Yeah, fiber maxing is intentionally building your meals around maximizing fiber. And if you watched my videos starting last year when I was doing the cut, right?
Okay.
I showed you my meals, and you'll see like right at like 8 o'clock at night, I hit my protein, right? Yes. And then I was having a bowl of like fiber cereal, right? And why are you eating fiber cereal? Well, because that fiber cereal with some high fiber fruits, blueberries and strawberries, right?
Raspberries
would give me like 40 to 50 grams of fiber in a bowl. Like it was something, it was like 35. It was something crazy. And that added to the food I already ate, had me at 75 grams of fiber because I was monitoring all of that. So I already had my protein for the day, just a simple bowl of bran or some type of high fiber cereal, right? Really, with some vegetables that are high fiber, or some fruits, in this case, the strawberries and the blueberries. That's why, so we have, for the last few years, shown you that we've included meals just for fiber outside of protein.
Absolutely. So I know that some, in a podcast and some other people that you've interviewed, definitely they shun away from beans for the amount of calories, correct?
Right.
But that means you don't eliminate it, right?
No,
Because for example, lentils, one of my favorite foods where you're getting some protein, but you're getting so much fiber, and it's a complex carb. It's just all around so good. So that's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you...
I agree. I don't want you to think that we're anti-beans. I've had to limit beans and other carbohydrates for me because they don't have enough protein for their calories, because I'm so low in calories every day, because I'm a short little guy and my BMR is like, I don't know, 1400 at my right? So I can only have so many. You are different. You're at like 2300 calories.
Yeah.
You don't have to really worry about that. So what I've done is basically for me.
Yeah. No, and then bringing up lentils, I mean, it is a powerhouse for iron, for folate. So that is one of my favorite. And there's red lentils, there's green lentils, so you can change it up a little bit for sure.
And I don't think anybody in this house could live without black beans, right? Like every one of us will dive into black beans if we see it, right? Because they're loaded, but they're delicious. They're loaded with fiber, right? They're not a primary protein source, but they are a source of secondary protein, right?
Yeah.
There's so many other great things about it, but for sure, we're not obsessing about it, but we do.
I'd like to compliment with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so after Joey just said black beans, right? The next would be chickpeas. And on this one, I don't always grab chickpeas. I do make sure that this one is organic. There's just worldwide, I don't want gut inflammation from a pesticide.
Yeah.
So organic is the way to go for this one. But we have so many recipes that show how to make great hummus. With this, we have What's that?
Chickpea salad sandwich.
Oh,
So
yeah,
we
yeah,
love chickpea
absolutely.
salad, yeah.
So definitely some strategies with that. That salad that Joy just brought up, awesome because it has the celery in it, like
Yeah.
just things that you can cut up really finely if you have a version of that, but really nice. Yeah.
Yeah, any beans, we throw beans on salads, any beans that you can eat. Beans are just loaded with fiber. So if you're not in a low calorie mindset like me because you're short and just don't have a lot of place to store muscle that burns calories, then if you're not in that mindset, you should put beans on everything. And we did, and we still do. I may not get as many as I want, but I put beans on everything.
Yeah, that chili recipe that we make, I mean, I think it's got a combination of three or four different beans.
Yeah.
That's awesome. We have that reserved in little individual servings in the freezer. I just like to pull a couple of those out every week. I know I like chili, I think, much more than you, but that's a good
You will
example.
eat it all the time, and with nothing else. I need more variety than chili. I'm sorry. Lately, we go to sushi on the weekends. We get the sweet potato sushi. We've now been kind of, instead of getting the vegetable appetizer, the vegetable spring roll, we've now been looking at an umami, right?
Absolutely. So it comes whole, roasted. It is sprinkled with some salt, but we also know that we're also exercising. It's 110 degrees this week. So when I'm going for morning walks, I'm sweating. So the salt for me is good, or it works out. And if you're moving around, it probably is for you as well. But anyway, that's awesome. And
For sure.
Yeah.
Another good topic of fiber and protein is tofu and tempeh. Specifically tempeh, because tempeh is higher in protein. But
It's fermented.
Yeah, both of those are good sources of fiber also. It's nice because in the plant-based world, many of your secondary or primary protein sources are also sources of fiber.
Yeah,
So,
and there's the fava bean tofu too.
Oh, yeah.
So there's some bean tofus. Now, some people will say that that's sort of processed, but it's just a tough one. I think that's extreme.
Tofu is minimally. There is some processing. Tofu is minimally processed, but you got to take the good with the bad, right? Another thing, recently I made myself, I don't know if it was a bowl of fruit or something. I had a meal. It was only 200 calories, and I got my protein in, and I'm still hungry. And I opened a bag of frozen peas and dumped 2 cups of frozen peas in the bowl, put a little water through the microwave. I love me some peas, right? Yeah. I hated peas growing up because my mother overcooked them, but as an adult, just steamed peas, they're so delicious, loaded with protein, and you've got fiber.
Yeah. The next one, we make that Greek yogurt that's out of the soy milk that's fermented.
Yeah.
We put some strains in there from different probiotics just to maybe help out. So I love that. And adding fruit, that's amazing. Getting a mixed bag of berries. Berries are low in sugar, high in fiber. And then I just sprinkle it lightly with some granola. And you can either make your own with in the oven. But there are some bags, but you need to be very careful with the granola, and that's why I say I sprinkle it on. But it is so tasty. But that's another strategy.
Yeah, for sure. So what we're doing is giving you some ideas of how to fiber max, how to eat some foods or throw them in your meal that'll bring up the fiber, right?
This reminds me of the very first video we did, I think, was buckwheat pancakes.
It was buckwheat. No, it was buckwheat itself.
Oh, it was
Instant
buckwheat.
Pot
Okay.
buckwheat, yeah.
Gotcha. I mean, from day one, we weren't even focused on fiber, but looking back to our very first video years ago, that we had used buckwheat.
We'll put a link to that video below. It's not pretty.
It's not pretty, but no. But it's an underused porridge for sure,
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah. So let's talk about grains also. We just talked about buckwheat, right?
Yeah.
Another one of my favorites I eat all during the school year is oats. I love me some overnight oats.
You do.
Right? Oh, for crying
do a
out loud.
lot.
It's so simple. It's filling. I just love oats. Plus, you can kind of design it to be whatever you want. Oats, quinoa. I'll throw quinoa on salads. Quinoa is overrated. I mean, by itself, it's kind of plain, but...
Yes. Underrated.
And sorry, it's underrated, right? That's not overrated, right?
I was reminded, a new salad place opened up, and we went and I had a bowl, and they had that in there, and I'm like, why do I always forget to use quinoa?
Yeah, just throw it in.
Really,
Extra.
when I put it in chronometer, it's an awesome food.
Yeah, that's Simply Green, I think it is, over in Tempeh.
Yeah, just opened up, clean, nice.
Over on Tatum and Shea over there. Yeah, I know some of you follow us in our area here. If you run into us at the restaurant, come over and say hello, right? Farro too. We have got farro we make in the back there, and barley. We throw those in some of the recipes we have.
We do have a video, I think, on making oats in the oven with some like maple syrup, some cinnamon, so you can make your own granola that's
Somewhere.
lower in fat.
It is, not worry about
But
that.
but that's an awesome one.
Yeah, the fiber to protein ratio on oats is really good. It's just that they're higher in calories. So for me, that's a big meal.
I think whenever we move into the seeds, right,
Yeah.
for sure you have to be considered that. That's the chia seeds. There is a volume of fat in there.
Yep.
Flax, we're talking.
Yeah, hemp, all those stuff.
Pumpkin seeds.
All those stuff. I love throwing that stuff in my overnight oats. But seeds are a great source of fiber. They have some protein in it, but they are a little higher in calories.
Yeah.
So you got to be careful.
To get that, you probably do need a monitor, and you do that. You monitor for a little bit, and then you're set. You know how much you need going forward in life.
Yeah,
so.
from seeds, chia seeds is like a fiber maxing champion, right? You put 1 tablespoon and suddenly your meal is pulling its weight. Like chia seeds is underrated or are underrated.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
When I was talking earlier about my fiber cereal, one of the reasons that bowl of cereal brings up my fiber content isn't just for the fiber cereal in it.
No.
It's for the fruits.
Yes.
Some of the fruits are really nicely higher in fiber, and this is what's great about them. They're low in calories.
I see you use raspberries.
Raspberries, strawberries, blueberries.
Yeah.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah, the berry family, I think we've covered that before. Just lower in sugar. It's the way to go.
Oh my gosh, they're so good. Plus, I just put them in frozen in my cereal. So the frozen strawberries and the frozen
Nice.
raspberries, they keep the cereal cold, right? While they're defrosting in the cereal. Like, it still gets a little soggy, but it's absolutely delicious. And then every day, I bring apples or pears to school, and Tim will buy us bags of apples every week during the school year. And I go through like 2 or 3 bags of apples at school a day because I swear, I don't know what it is, but high school kids, they'll come up to me and they'll go, "You got any food?" Right? And it happens all day long. We've gotten to the point where some of them will look in my lunchbox and go, "Oh, you're going to eat that apple?" And I'm like, "It's my lunchbox. I'm going to eat that apple," right? Like, but go ahead. And of course, I'm like, "No, just take it," right? Especially during Suma orange season, which pisses me off because those oranges are like $4 each, right? So I now have bags of apples at school, and I just get them at Costco. I don't know, it's like $2 a bag for 12, or $3 per bag. Okay, I don't actually pay the bill.
It's a little more than that.
Anyway, so if the kids are going to get food from me, they're getting fruit.
Let it be that and not donuts.
Yeah, it's exactly right,
so.
right? So I'm just like, your parents, it's a specialty school. Your parents make probably way more than I do. I'm a teacher. Like, can't they send you with fruit?
Yeah, but I do see in the cafeteria, for example, at work, the fruit sits in a bowl. It doesn't really get bought or anything.
No.
So it's awesome to hear that the kids are actually eating an apple.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah. I wash it for them. I'll wash them for them. And they're like, "Do you have the apple slicer?" And I'm like, "What kind of bougie school is this?" Right? So I slice the apple with the apple slicer and they pass it around, and like, it's crazy. So when you're going to a cafeteria, right, and all that food's there and that bowl of fruit's there, just like a continental breakfast, right? When you were a meat eater, when we ate processed food like that, we'd go to the continental breakfast. "Oh, I'll take the pastries. I'll take this," and you pass right by that bowl of fruit and go, "Nobody wants that banana," right? And you move on. When you're in a classroom where there's nothing there and there's a bowl of fruit there, let me tell you, people are like, "Ooh, that apple looks good." Right? I'm gonna eat that apple.
So one of my favorite strategies with the apple, and it comes from being, since elementary school, is putting peanut butter on an apple.
Yeah,
it's just so good. So if I have the calories, Nut Zoo is delicious.
Yeah.
But then PB2 is another option if you don't have those. But whatever you need to do to get an apple in, I feel like it's, do it.
I
So
agree.
many benefits, yeah.
Fruit, absolutely great source of fiber. Add it to everything. I've been doing that. It really has bumped up my fiber content.
Yep.
Then we've also got vegetables, right? Now, we're vegans. We're not shy with vegetables.
Yeah. All right. One of my favorite strategies was I have the stir fry vegetable bag from Costco, and just putting that in a pan quick for a stir fry with something cubed up for protein. That is awesome. So if you find a strategy that eating frozen, having that available all the time, that works for you, then do that. But it doesn't have to always be fresh.
No, that's true. I'm all about frozen vegetables. Broccoli frozen is great. We have so many recipes where we're using broccoli.
Yeah.
I love Brussels sprouts also. My family needs to have them almost burnt to a crisp to eat them. I kind of like them like that also, but I'll eat them anyway. Artichokes, I'm not a big fan of, but they are full of fiber.
Yeah.
If it's in some type of dip, it's fine. Otherwise, I don't know about eating them by itself. And then we all love sweet potatoes.
Yeah,
Like,
we have some in the
we have some
refrigerator
in the fridge we
already
just made, yeah.
pre-made in the air fryer. And I was just talking to a friend the other day about she had a potato and was really excited how good it was, because she doesn't really cook that much. So, but anyway, turning around to sweet potatoes, just game changer. Having it ready.
I know it's hard to. I mean, we've spent the last 10 years of our lives just eating potatoes with salt on it with nothing on it and going, hey, this is great. It's hard to believe people are now just coming around to potatoes, right? But full of fiber. All right, so Tim, let's give us an idea of what we eat in a day. Let's say breakfast.
Yeah, I think the most common for me is having that soy Greek yogurt, then putting some berries on it. So I'll do mixed fruit. Sometimes it's just blueberries, but if I put them on frozen, by the time I get to work, I can just snack on that, and it's melted. It's cold. It's good.
Yep.
So
and then you throw some seeds on there.
Some seeds, or I have a little bag of granola that I'll sprinkle on, or if I have some toasted oats from the oven, then I'll put that on as well. But again, it's just a light amount, and that sort of helps me be satiated.
Yeah. So I mean, having oats for breakfast crushes your fiber and protein right in one shot.
Yeah, I know for you like the overnight oats for sure. That seems to be a staple.
Yeah.
You have it lined up in the refrigerator for the week.
It's because I can grab and go. Like I've got my Herman Munster lunchbox every morning because I bring all my own food, right? Yeah. Although now I have a new classroom with an office of my own and a fridge in there. And I started. It's the summer. I'm redoing my classroom. I'm loading that stuff up. I got a smoothie station. So now I don't want to bring anything. But right now. Yeah, I bring my overnight oats because I grab it and go, and I load it up in my lunchbox, and I'm ready to go. Yeah, right. That's why meal prep is so important.
Yeah, that strategy for sure. Now, don't get me wrong. Come the weekend, I'm loving a tofu scramble.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, and Lex
Yeah, he'll see that coming down. He'll smell that come down and go, oh, what's going on? So for sure. All right, Tim. So what about lunch? Give us an idea of what you would do for lunch.
Okay. Well, we talked already about having the frozen chili in the fridge. Sometimes I will just grab that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, like going back to the lentils, have that with there's a frozen Costco bag of root vegetables.
Yeah.
And I will have that on the side and like a tahini sauce on that. Just depends on like what I'm in for the day for fat count, but that's delicious. And lemon.
What's your favorite lentil dish?
Okay, definitely the mirsirwat.
I was going to say the exact same thing. That Ethiopian lentils, absolutely still one of my favorites. That is an underrated recipe.
There's a video on that for sure. Yeah,
amazing. The flavors on that are just absolutely delicious. And it's lentil based. That is loaded with fiber.
Absolutely. That's probably my favorite.
Interesting. I did not plan that question. We both would have picked the same thing. Like, out of all the stuff we made, Ethiopian.
What about, so that was me for lunch. What about you?
Oh gosh, for lunch, I really like a salad with a very light yogurt-based dressing, and then some, processed little pieces of vegan chicken in it or whatever, right?
Gotcha. It's like the just chicken.
Yeah. That's probably where I get my processed would be the processed meat, but I just cut it up so I get enough of it, and then I get all that the gut-friendly microbiome stuff with me, and I love fruits in a salad. I love grapes in a salad, right? I love pears in a salad. Like I love all that.
Yeah,
right.
For sure.
Nuts, seeds, all that. I like my salads to be like crunchy and sweet and like have all these flavors in them for sure.
Textures.
Oh yeah.
Like all that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, salads aren't about the dressing for me. They're all about, ooh, what's over here? Ooh, here's a piece of fruit, right? Ooh, here's like a walnut, right? Yes. Like, ooh, here's like a candied almond or something, right? Like for sure.
Okay.
So then, what about dinner?
Okay, so sometimes I talked to you already about having the frozen stir-fried vegetables. I will add that. You've seen me make bolognese sauce.
Yeah.
And I put mushrooms in there. You don't really notice it, but in that bolognese, I have carrots, celery, all that going in. So I do like that.
Yeah, I think, remember last year when I was cooking dinner on film every year for the cut, and I still do this, you make the seitan in the beginning of the week, right? Yep. And we've got seitan all week, and it's already cooked, but it's just not flavored. I like to throw that in a frying pan with some, spray oil, whatever, and cook that up. And I like to season it right then, usually some type of barbecue seasoning, and then eat it with broccoli and some sweet potatoes. And that's what I have, like, probably 4 nights a week.
Yeah.
Right? Yep. It's very simple. I hit all my numbers right in that one meal. It's a great way to end the day, and it just keeps me full.
Yeah, again, it's a game changer. Having the air-fried sweet potatoes in the fridge ready to go, you don't have to wait 45 minutes to make that. It's just a matter of warming it up or mashing it, warming it up.
I just love them the way they are. So, all right. So we've covered breakfast, lunch, and dinner. What about if you want a snack? I know you said your peanut butter, right?
The apple peanut butter, absolutely. after work or after dinner, sometimes depending on the fiber, I'll grab like 1 or 2 kiwis and just sort of spoon that out of its skin, and I like that. I think we've been getting the Costco bin, and it's just a staple in our fruit drawer in the refrigerator.
The late night snack is usually, or not late night, but the snack maybe after dinner is usually when I have my fiber cereal.
Yes.
Right, because I just have a little bit of the fiber cereal, 100 grams, and then a bunch of fruits with it, and I wound up ending the day with some fiber.
Yeah. I think we're all pretty good about thinking about 400 to 500 calorie lunches or breakfasts and things like that. But where people fail, and even myself before, if you eat a bowl of cereal before going to bed, it can do you in. All of a sudden you've added 400 more calories, that cookie, that snack. So you have to plan. I think the most important part of their day is that after dinner snack. And so having the kiwi, having some roasted chickpeas, you should have something in place for when you're feeling you need a little something.
You got to plan your fails, which we've been saying forever, right? Like,
you're
going to fall a little bit, be ready.
And that's the time of the day.
Yeah.
I think there's enough common sense, like you're at work, like pass on that processed cookie, or something. But anyway, I think that late night snack eating is where you can really do yourself in, and not going to nuts, but versus like kiwi or a protein snack like the chickpea roasted or something seasoned.
All right, so if you had to focus on just one nutrient for the next month, protein or fiber, what would you do?
So I feel like I've got the protein down. We've been doing this for enough. We have strategies in place. Every meal has, protein. I think there was a time when we were so afraid of beans, and just to complement things with beans and not feel guilty or bad.
Because of the calories for me.
Yeah.
I just want to keep in mind there's nothing wrong with beans. Beans are amazing, and I need them, actually. And so do you. But because I'm a small guy, my calories my body is very efficient. It can do everything it needs to do every day at 1,100 calories. Anything more than that, it'll start storing its fat.
Okay.
So because of that, beans aren't my primary source of protein.
Okay.
But they are a big source of nutrients for me. Yeah. So I just can't eat as many as like on the starch solution, I had to shovel down beans like they were going out of style, right? Like it didn't matter. Of course, I was gaining weight because I was over my calories.
Yeah.
Now I know like I can eat beans, but I have to make sure I have the calories for them.
Yep.
And if I eat correctly, if I plan this, I can. I would say if I had to focus on one thing, it would be fiber also. I would say if the world had to focus on one thing, as we know it right now, with obesity being 75% of the population and all that, if the world had to focus on one thing, they need to focus on fiber. No one in America is protein deficient. So,
correct.
They fiber deficient? Almost everyone.
Yeah.
Right?
Our strategy for protein has been we don't want to lose muscle while losing weight.
Right.
We don't want to. So as we get older, I feel like that is so important. But more than anything, I'm reminded of this last year of people being in the hospital for a blockage that we have to be more cognizant or more in tune with our fiber. And I think that's why we're having this conversation. Even though from the very first video, we were pushing fiber and we didn't really realize it, but prioritizing it, definitely. So I think in this video, we've talked about some of the strategies we use or some of the things that we're already doing right. But just being aware of it, I think will help.
Absolutely. It's shocking when someone close to you, or a few people close to you in our situation, just wind up in the hospital.
Yeah.
And they're not overweight, right? And they're out there. You see them walking the neighborhood every day, right? Yes. And they're like doing their exercise. Yeah. And then they're like, can you go get my mail for me?
Playing pickleball with us.
Yeah, can you go get my mail for me? I'm in the hospital. Why are you in the hospital? Well, because I had some fiber blockage and almost died.
Yeah, so it's not...
some blockage and almost died.
So it's not just getting a simple enema resolved. No, they're in for days.
Right.
And you could have a segment removed if it's that bad. So you don't want that. Like, besides the health benefits, just think about the risks as well. So I don't want to scare anyone, but it seems to be a very real thing in our life that we've seen.
Yeah, and it's interesting because, we always say to these people, why didn't we've modeled for them for 10 years now. Like,
it's easy to get sidetracked. And if you're not eating whole foods as a priority, again, you get sidetracked.
All right, we have a challenge for you.
Okay.
You've heard us over the last few years say, track your calories every day, because You know, if you're trying to eat better and eat healthier or lose weight or gain weight in some cases, you don't know what your calories are every day, how are you going to do that? Well, here's a challenge. Track your food for the next few days, but track the fiber, right? And don't worry about the calories and protein. I mean, you should, but how much fiber you're getting on a daily average. Don't change anything. Just eat what you normally do. Okay. And at the end of the week, be like, oh, look, I'm getting 22 grams of fiber a day.
Yeah.
Are you happy with that?
So maybe not daily look at all the stats. So if you're logging everything in Chronometer, it'll give you that information, what vitamins you're consistently deficient in, your fiber, and your protein. So don't become so, I guess I want to say like neurotic about it, where it becomes a mental
issue. Like I would do.
If you're doing everything every day, if that's a trigger. Again, it's just sort of like you want a snapshot. And then when you're coming up with new strategies for prioritizing fiber, you use Chronometer. But, you know, unless you have some very specific goals, you don't need to be ball and chain to it. Don't look at it that way.
But put everything in so you can kind of get it. There's nothing like tracking a few days of everything you eat. Not changing anything, just tracking to make you realize, oh man, like I'm not getting what I thought I'm getting.
Yeah.
I'm missing the vitamins, I'm missing the minerals, I'm missing this, I'm missing fiber. Like you walk around thinking, oh, I'm a pretty healthy guy.
Yeah.
Right? And then you track and you're like, oh no, not at all.
Yeah. Perception versus like actual data.
And then you know what to change, right? All right, so let's comment below here. Let us know first, are you team protein or team fiber? You should be saying team both, all right? But do you care about one over the other? What's your favorite high protein fiber vegan food? If you're eating a plant-based diet, then you're getting a lot of fiber. I don't know a lot, but you're getting probably more than the required amount anyway.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And then how many grams of fiber do you think you eat actually before you actually track it? And let us know. And then do the track and go, hey, you were right. I thought I was getting like 40 grams of fiber and I'm actually getting 19.
Yeah,
right?
Talk about a confidence booster when you have a little data to back it up.
Yeah. Well, hope you enjoyed this episode. That's our episode for today. Hit that like button, show us some love, click on that bell, click that subscribe button. You get notified every time we do a video. It's supposed to be every Tuesday. My life is one crazy moment after another. And leave a comment below. Let us know your thoughts. And anything else you want to add?
No, just being more mindful. I really wish the best health for everyone. Yeah. But thank you again for joining us with Plant-Based Dads.
All right, we'll see you next time.
Take care.
Bye-bye. Hey, I'm Joey Troxel. And today, I'm going to talk about how I went from being a short, fat guy to being much closer to my goal of looking physically fit. I'm doing this by not only monitoring my weight, but my muscle mass and my body fat too. Knowing when my plans are working and knowing when I need to change things up a bit. First, let's talk about the device I'm using to help me measure my progress correctly. I absolutely love the BodyPod by Hume. It's a smart scale device that, as you can guess, tracks your body weight, but it also gives you so much more information about your body composition with a medical grade accuracy of 98%, which up until now has been unavailable to the average person. I used to pay to get Staiku, DEXA, and other 3D scans, but that wasn't really sustainable, and I could only afford them maybe once or twice a year. With the BodyPod, all of this information is accessible to me every day for less than the price I used to pay for just one scan. One of the tools this scale uses to give you such accuracy is the handle. The handle allows it to get your measurements from both your upper body and lower body, compared to most other smart scales that just use your lower body readings to approximate your measurements. Hey, not all people are the same, and we store fat differently. So, if you want to be accurate, you'll want to measure correctly and measure both the upper and lower body. The BodyPod comes with a free app that shows you a breakdown of all your metrics, and it breaks it down into measurements for each individual body part. There is a paid upgrade available, but everything I'm showing you here is part of the free app, and that's what I use for myself. The app shows you subcutaneous fat, visceral fat, muscle mass, BMR, heart rate, and so much more. It's really detailed in the amount of information it presents. You can track your patterns and changes over time to see if the number on the scale going up means you've gained more muscle and burned off some fat, or if you are truly gaining fat and need to make a change in your diet. The many different charts track lots of metrics. While I pay attention to weight, I usually closely monitor body fat percentage and lean muscle mass to make sure the weight I'm losing is fat and not muscle. You can't tell this by using a standard type scale. It just gives you a number. What does that mean? Having the Body Pod is a good reassurance to know that you're on the right track with muscle gain and fat loss, regardless of what the actual number on a traditional scale would normally tell you. Plus, the Body Pod qualifies for payment with your FSA or HSA. You can choose the flex option at the payment window. Since regular scales don't work with your body composition, they don't qualify. The Body Pod is linked in the description below this video, or you can check it out at myhumehealth.com. And use the code PLANTBASEDDADS at checkout. They're running a 50% off sale currently as I'm filming this video, so if you've been thinking about getting a smart scale, now is the time to check it out. Plus, with my discount link or with my code PLANTBASEDDADS at checkout, you get an extra 15% off on top of whatever special they're running at the time. Yeah, baby! The Body Pod has made all the difference in my journey, and now that information is accessible to you every single day.